the last few months, there has been a step change function in the productivity of the AI toolkit. It is profoundly more powerful than it was just 9 months ago. And it has been really interesting to watch, to be blunt, work that we would usually do with people with masters and PhDs in finance over the course of weeks or months being done by AI agents over the course of hours or days. So these are not mid-tier white-collar jobs. These are like extraordinarily high-skilled jobs being, I'm going to pick a word, being automated by agentic AI. And when you witness it in your own four walls, when you see work that used to be man-years of work being done in days or weeks, it's like, wow, like that's the first time I've seen real impact in our four walls.
Through the curtains open, let the morning flood the room. Something in the air today, it isn't over, it's in bloom. Felt it in my chest like the first note of a song. Been warming up my whole life just to sing along. Golden age, baby, we were made for this moment and the stage. Door wide open, light is pouring in. Don't have to wait no more. This is where we begin.
Welcome to the Golden Age. We're living through something unprecedented. The old limits on creativity, speed, on what a single human being can accomplish in a lifetime are gone. And most people haven't quite caught up to that yet, which means that we're early. And that's an amazing place to be. There's a window right now where the people who show up curious, who take the time to figure out what they actually care about and why, those people are going to do things that would have been flat out impossible 5 years ago. The tools finally match the ambition. This show is for those people. We're here to talk about what it means to be human inside of all of this and what becomes possible when you start moving along with the technology. It is May 17th, 2026, and this is episode 15 of the Golden Age podcast. My name is Hector. I'm an IT executive, a techno-optimist with a humanities background, and here is our co-host.
Hello, I'm Irene, and I am a psychologist.
All right. So there's so much to talk about. I was just going to start with the first thing on my mind, and I sent this link to you. Well, Bernie and AOC, Bernie Sanders and Alexandria, I always get her middle name wrong. AOC.
AOC,
Congresswoman.
Ocasio, something, Ocasio, right?
Ocasio-Cortez, I think, introduces a bill to pause all data center construction. I don't know to what degree there's congressional support for this, but I thought it would be something good to talk about because AI is not that popular in the United States, and there's lots of reasons for that. We could talk about that. But the other nation that's moving full steam ahead and is a direct competitor to what the United States is doing is China, and AI is very, very favorable in China on the order of like it's 80% favorable there, and AI is about 20% favorable here. So I think we should talk about, why that is, why it's so unpopular, and also the impact of the pausing on construction. Have you heard about this?
I hadn't heard about it until you sent me the link. So how realistic do you think that is? Do you think it's all show? Just to be like, hey, we're fighting for you, vote for us, but really they know nothing's going to happen. I mean, how realistic is that?
That's certainly part of it because they do watch the polling, right? So they see when something trends really popular or unpopular, they have to make comments and statements about it. Anybody can introduce a bill, right? So that's not even that hard. So this is like the most minimal effort they could do. But I could see it getting legs. The problem is the way to halt construction on something is generally local to the municipality, like the county, or maybe even the state. I'm not sure what jurisdiction they would have other than say, and I don't know, invoke some archaic law about, interstate commerce, because a data center is by definition interstate. So I don't know. But the thing is that this is what I fear the most, is that this is going to get people trending in that direction. And then other people will either join this bill or create similar bills in the local state legislature. This is not a good thing. This is really, really bad. And I don't know, we can talk a little bit about, do you know about the complaints people have, like the regular people like you and I, about data centers?
All I've heard is about water, right? They use a tremendous amount of water, and I don't know how, but it's bad for the environment, other than the water, I mean. I know that they're building that huge data center in Utah. They just
Yes.
approved
Yeah.
that, right? And that's huge. I that's the biggest one I've heard about.
It's not
But
approved
yeah.
yet. It's
Oh,
not
it
approved
hasn't been
yet.
approved. Okay,
I
they're
don't
trying to
I don't
approve
think
it.
finally. Yeah, but it's massive. It's on, well, the facility, it's, well, not the facility. The land it's on is like 16,000 acres.
Jeez.
And when you turn it, so I'm gonna give some stats like I think I remember that make it sound scary. All right. So it will require, I think, twice the electricity that the entire state of Utah would need.
I heard that too. In 1
Yeah.
year.
Right.
It uses it up in, like, what amount of
Well,
time? It's like
I, I think it's just megawatts per time period. So yeah, it's just basically twice as much.
okay.
So there's that. What else was scary about it? Oh, it's going to raise the temperature 28 degrees um, in the area it's in.
Oh,
Um,
28 degrees?
yeah, and
What radius?
well, see, that's the other thing. There's different ways of spinning this, and there's one more terrible stat. But I mean, we could talk about those too. Well, here's the thing. So yes, it's large, right? So it's taking this large footprint,
Humongous.
but it's the land is coming from private owners. So this is already private land that people can do whatever they want. So that, I think the land part is settled. If you have environmental concerns, that's kind of already been figured out because this is private. I believe it was like ag land essentially, but wasn't being used very well for ag because of the lack of water. And we could talk about the water part because I think it used some crazy portion of water. They put in terms of how much the city would, it's like Salt Lake City would use. But what they don't talk about is that the water is recyclable, right? It takes an initial
Yeah.
amount and just recycles it. The story about the water came out of some data centers in, I believe, Arizona, where they use evaporative cooling. In other words, they let the water evaporate over something and then that cools like a
So then
radiator
they needed more water, constant.
on a consistent basis,
Got it.
which the vapor goes back into the atmosphere. So it's not like it's losing it, but if you're taking it from fresh water, then you're losing a
Mm.
freshwater source and turning it into something you can't utilize. And the reason why is those evap coolers are really well suited for desert environments. So if you put a data center in desert, that's what you want to do because it gets so hot. You don't have to put it in the desert. So let's just not put data centers in deserts, and so we can use the recyclable cooling. So there's that. The data center builder in Utah is bringing his own power plants. So it's not going to take any energy away from Utah. In fact, data centers are spiky in their need for power. So they'll have surplus at times and they can sell it to the Utah grid and it'll drive the prices down for Utah residents. And then the temperature thing, yes, it does make a lot of noise and a lot of temperature, but this is in a completely uninhabited, way out of the way in the Styx Valley, a little valley. And yes, in that little valley, it's going to crank up enough heat, but it might raise the temperature at times 28 degrees. But no one's there except for the people driving to work. I think they're playing into a lot of people's expectations that data centers are bad. I think for some reason we've expected that. Like, I think because we tie it into maybe billionaires and the fact that those tech companies are being very successful. And you and I are just seeing inflation, paying more for gas, not getting raises. While we're seeing not everyone, but people are reporting how good the economy is and how it's booming. And look at this stock market. And we're like, well, I don't feel that. And so you look at the data centers and you go, they're building a $40 billion data center. That doesn't, where are they getting that money? And then you just have a bad impression of it. The people in charge of tech are doing a terrible job of marketing themselves and a terrible job of communicating the reality and that it's not the enemy.
Well, there's some interesting characters. We have Elon Musk, we
Right.
have Sam Altman, who I just heard some really crazy stuff about him. We have, who was the other guy that said he wasn't sure about whether humanity should continue to exist.
Okay, who was that?
He was
Yeah.
the head guy of one of those big
Yeah.
AI things, I
Oh,
mean,
he was
they're
yeah, he was one of the founders of OpenAI.
yeah.
Yeah, that's right. Peter Thiel. It was Peter Thiel.
Peter Thiel, there we go.
Yeah. Yeah, they're not great spokespeople, you
They're
know?
not.
Yeah, they're just they're good, I guess, for what they're doing, and
For
I guess they're
yeah.
decent salespeople because they get people to give them money. But as far as like good spokespeople for what they're doing, and also they're not very persuasive. I don't think so.
Yeah, if you get asked a question in an interview and they say, "Do you think humanity should continue to exist?" and you have to think about it for an entire minute, yeah.
Yeah, you're quibbling on the existence part. Yeah, that's weird. But yeah, this is I think people need to spread the word. We need to get better spokespeople, get the right facts about data centers. No one wants factories in their backyard, right? I think that's just our nature as citizens of the United States. We want to be in our little suburbs or away from big construction, big noise, industry, factories, billowing smoke. I get that
Yeah.
part of it.
Property
But the
values go down.
property values go down. But there's so much land. I mean, if anyone that's flown over from California to even Denver, or much less like I don't know, to New York, that first hour and a half going over the country is just miles and miles of nothing. And why not build data centers there?
Well, I think people also, they think of a data center, they think of AI. They think of AI, they think of it stealing their jobs, it doing the art for them, it doing their, designing jobs. I'm forgetting the term for right now, but so because they have a bad conception of AI, then automatically these data centers are also going to be a bad thing.
Yeah. Right. No one wants to live. Assuming you believe these founders, these Frontier Lab CEOs. Yeah. So the best thing is I'm going to lose my job. That's the best outcome here. And I think a lot of people don't spend a lot of time paying attention. This is the problem with politics is that no one really pays attention to politics. They hear something from a friend, or they come across one news article, or they see a tweet, or they see something on Instagram, and they form their opinion on that. But they don't really pay attention to politics. Well, by the same virtue, no one's paying attention to AI. Not really. But it's to get the same few stories. Data centers wasting water. Okay, that's a fact. That's a fact in their head.
Mm.
I'm gonna lose my job. Elon's gonna be a trillionaire because of it. Those are not selling points, right? And you form an opinion on that. And so this data center construction is part of that. And going back to what your initial hypothesis is, the more I think about it, the more I think that's the case. I think they're doing it uh, not for show, but to get their base, to consolidate their base more. They'll turn this into an issue in the midterms that we're going to
Mm.
hit here pretty soon. Because I
Yeah.
don't see I don't see the reputation of AI being turned around by the midterms. So we'll see. Maybe.
I guess for the average person, when you think about it, what is the benefit to the average person other than it being an amazing search engine that just makes it so much easier to get the exact answer you're looking for a lot faster? Aside from that, I don't know. I mean, they talk about the robots. No one is excited about a robot. Like everyone's freaked out about a robot. They don't want robots in their hospitals when they're dying or sick. They've, been in a horrible car accident. They don't want to see a robot coming in to their hospital room.
Mm,
I mean, what are the selling points that I mean, if you think about it, they aren't talking about all the things that you and I discuss about how there could be abundance. There could be. It's not guaranteed, it depends
right.
how it all works out. There could be abundance. We could be living a lot longer, a lot healthier. That's not being advertised. I haven't heard anything outside of our conversations about that.
It's not. And what needs to happen is that someone needs to be the spokesperson. One, they need to talk about the wins we already have. That Google's AlphaFold is able to create new medical discoveries or solve certain diseases because now they can look at these chromosomes. I would bet if you looked into it, I'll make a bet right now that these GLPs, they use AI to develop it on the research side. And they need to find these wins we already have um, and say, this is what we got, and we're just getting started, and this is what we're going to have next year, and this is what we're going to have in 5 years, and this is what we're going to have in 10 years, and start selling those positives because you're right. There's nothing an average person can point to as the immediate benefit other than uh, it can sort of help me write emails for my work.
Mhm. Yeah. I have a friend who's a musician. She's like, I don't like AI, don't want to use it. She's opposes it. I showed her the music I was making with Suno, and
Uh-oh.
she was like, wow. She was actually really surprised at how good it was. But
Right.
then it took her aback. She's like, this is what I do for a living. She's like, it's kind of scary that, something anyone can make music now and make it sound that good.
Mm.
I have a friend who works in branding. She makes all sorts of like labels for, wine companies and things like that. She's not happy with it. You can make an amazing label using AI now.
Yeah.
So yeah, there's a lot of people who are see it, as they don't see the benefit of it and they see only the negative of it.
Right. Because unless you're technical at this point, there's no easy way for you to tap into it. Like I think the best way to tap into it
Yeah.
is something like Suno or
Yeah.
maybe a video generating um
Mhm.
unless you're in the tech industry or already working with AI, you're just not going to see it.
Right, and even then sorry, go ahead.
No, go ahead. Yeah.
I was gonna say even then, like, even if you are somewhat familiar with all these different things that you can use to be more creative, to enhance whatever skills you already have, you still have to have it's not cheap. You have to have because I've been making images on Dolly, which is the ChatGPT
Hmm.
video I'm sorry, image creator, and
Hmm.
then animating them on Kling, and it's definitely not cheap. Not if you wanna do a lot of it, which I've been loving doing, so that's another thing. I think, for people, especially right now in this economy, they can't afford, if for me, I had to upgrade to the $100 ChatGPT because I was making so many images, and same with the, Kling as well. And
Hmm.
then pretty soon I wanna upgrade from the Dolly to Midjourney for image creating, and I know
Right.
that's, so it the money, it's not cheap to use all these amazing AI tools.
It's not, and I think unless you spend money, you're not gonna have that magic moment where you go, "Holy crap,
Yeah.
that it can do that," because yeah, you're right. It takes money to see the amazing stuff. It really does. Or it takes like a very, very technical person being very sneaky about like,
Mm.
like I have been trying to maximize my tokens, using Anthropic or OpenAI and then using OpenClaw, which is free-ish. But even people that use OpenClaw, if they're not careful, they get, $1,000 bills. So you have to, you're right, you have to have means to really see its potential, and so you're not gonna come across it unless someone shows it to you. And even then, like, if it has to change your life, it has to enrich your life, it has to make you productive for you to be a believer, I think. And that hasn't happened yet, and that's not the case yet. I think it's gonna happen to many people this year,
Hopefully.
hopefully. Yeah.
Hopefully, people will start seeing the benefits in it. Yeah.
So you got anything else on that before you move to the next one?
I think the younger generations might think differently, though. I know that we have the beta
Mm.
generation. Anyone born after 2025, they're the beta generation, and they're going to be the ones that the description I read was that to them, not using AI will be like not using electricity. They're going to grow up
Right.
in an era where everything is going to be AI. They're not going to know any different. They're not going to know life without artificial intelligence. It's going to be everywhere for them. Then we have the alpha generation, which is the generation right before them. It's like the probably the elementary school age kids right now, where they're kind of, they're being raised with internet, no doubt. That's embedded in their lives. And but yeah, beta won't know what it's like to have AI embedded into everything for them.
Well, to some degree, even alpha too, right? Because
Alpha
I mean,
too, yeah.
yeah, because if you're in 3rd grade and
It's just a matter of
by next
time.
yeah, but it's just a matter of time. By next year, you're or using AI all over the place. I mean, by the time you get in high school, it's gonna seem like that was always the case.
Mhm.
So, yeah, crazy.
Yeah. And one last thing I wanted to add. Oh, this is what I was telling you I wanted to just make a comment on. I saw this short little article on someone who had been kind of abusive to their Claude and was just being really mean to them and demanding and maybe cussing at them and stuff. And cussing at it, not them, it cussing at Claude. And Claude basically said, I don't like the way you're talking to me. I'm going to shut this conversation down. I'm going to end it. When you are ready, we can start a new conversation. And so that got me thinking, like if we're going to be having, how that we were reading last time, how most people in the future are going to, their best friend is going to be AI, or, they're going to have relationships in some way or another with AI. I don't know how you talk to your AI, but I've been talking to my Claude and my ChatGPT a lot. And, I'm very like, I'm not abusive to it, but I'm very like, the way I notice, I'm kind of bossy with it. Like I don't say please. I do say thank you most of the time. But you don't talk to it the way you would a human being.
No,
And
most people
so
don't. Yeah.
yeah, and so that makes me wonder if because we're getting so used to and, more and more people are getting used to talking to their AI a certain way, is that gonna start showing up in the way we treat other people as well? I just thought that was kind of interesting because I was like, gosh, like, I hope I don't start, being this way with just everyone around me because I'm getting so used to talking to my AI like this. So I just thought that was something to think about how it's going to change our personalities or the way we interact with humans because we're just so used to interacting with AI now.
So I have a question for you. When you look at all your use cases and all your time you spend on AI, what percentage of that is voice for
Most
you?
of it. Hardly. I'm not a fast typer. I hate typing. It's usually dictation.
Okay.
Even on my laptop, I have that on.
Because
Yeah.
I think that is how most people are going to use it. When they start using it aggressively and heavily, it's going to be voice. There's a huge percentage of people even in this country that have never used it, and the first time they're going to use it is going to be voice. And I can see entire demographics of people never have typed for AI, always used voice, and this doesn't know anything else. I think voice is the interface for AI in the future. So it doesn't surprise me that's what you do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, 99% of the time it's dictation. Every once in a while I will have to type for whatever reason, but 99% of it is dictation.
Yeah, for me, I would say 90% is typing, just because
Wow,
I'm used to it.
really?
Yeah, yeah, oh, yeah.
Why don't you use dictation or
I
voice?
I don't know. I do use it, especially when I'm in the car, and actually, when I first started using it, I used it a lot, but lately, I've been so, like, I don't know, text-centric. Ever since Open Club, I've been very text-centric. I'm not sure why. Uh
Okay, yeah, because we can't, um, use voice for Claude, right? I mean OpenClaw.
Oh, you can. Yeah, you can. In fact, Grok, I think, recently released an API for voice that you can tie into your OpenClaw. And it's
Okay.
really good. It's like really fast and responsive. The problem with voice with OpenClaw is that there's a bit of a delay. It's slower than voice with like using OpenAI, and so it's really inconvenient, or it's just annoying. Especially if you just use OpenAI and it was really fast, and you go to your OpenClaw and it takes like a few seconds to even understand you because it has to take your voice, it has to break it down into tokens
Mm,
and process that. It just takes longer.
and it uses
Um,
up more tokens then?
yes, it uses more
Okay,
tokens. Yeah,
okay.
yeah.
I'm sure it'll improve in the future, but
Oh,
for
it's
now
improving now. For now, yeah. For now,
yeah,
it's a little bit annoying. But I have some news about OpenClaw later. We'll get to it. I
okay.
wanted to talk about something that I'm aware of, and I'm going to guess most people aren't. But I bring it up because China's been in the news recently a lot. The administration recently went to China. Trump took a lot of industry CEOs to China to basically talk about trade, open up markets. He brought the CEOs so they could talk about opening up markets in China that they can sell to. China is the biggest consumer population economy in the world, bigger than the United States. Their consumers buy more than the United States does. So, but it's very hard to sell in China because you have to work with the communist government and get special permission. So that's why Trump brought all these CEOs. China's been in the news, and so Taiwan has been in the news because a huge percentage of microchips that we use in our iPhones and our computers and your Apple devices are made in Taiwan. And so the story goes, if China invades Taiwan, takes it over, that could interrupt everything, right? And so this has been on people's minds for a decade at least, if not longer. That's why we're building chip plants in Texas and Arizona. Even Taiwanese companies are now building chip plants. They call fabrication or fab plants in the United States. And so it got me thinking about all the things that are sort of behind the scenes, like the invisible choke points that AI depends upon, but that no one really thinks about. And I just wanted to go over this because I think it's really interesting stuff. So I talked about these fab plants, right? There's really only three major companies in the world that make chips. One is Samsung, one is Intel, and the largest by far is a Taiwanese company called TSMC. And it's Taiwanese semiconductor or something. I forget the last. Anyway,
Not NVIDIA? NVIDIA's not in there?
NVIDIA doesn't make chips.
Oh, I
They
thought they did.
TSMC builds the fabs that NVIDIA uses to make chips. So they don't actually own the factories that make the chips. See, that's
Okay.
right. And that's a misconception that people have because, well, I'll get to it, because there's complications making and running a fabrication plant. So you have this chokehold of like, okay, if we lose Taiwan, we're in big trouble because then all we have is Samsung in South Korea and Intel, which is like a very small percentage of chips are made by Intel now. And so the United States would be put in a bad spot if we lose Taiwan. All right. So that's a choke point that some people are aware of, but most people aren't, unless you really follow the news. The other one gets even more just rare and weird. So there's one Dutch company in the world that is responsible for every modern chip made, and it's called ASML. And they make what's called photolithography machines. And the way you make chips is you have a wafer of silicon and you use light, like when you develop a photograph, you use light to project and etch upon that silicon wafer all the circuits, all the billions and billions on a wafer, maybe even trillions of pathways. So every single photolithography machine, which is about the size of 2 semi-trucks, is made by this ASML company, this Dutch company. If that company blew up, the world would stop, basically.
Wow. So we're dependent on solely them for
Solely them, right? So so now you have TSMC, you have NVIDIA, who designs chips, who has to go to TSMC to make chips, who has to go to ASML to make the machines that do the lithography. So you can make these billions and trillions of transistors. It's really complex 2 nanometer separation of these transistors. Then I found out something else, and I sent you this link this week of something I wasn't aware of. In order to make these silicone wafers, you have to have really perfectly arranged silicone atoms. And you do that by dipping it into a material, and the material creates this crystalline structure that makes this perfect alignment. Well, to do that, you have to dip something into a vat, and the vat has the melted material. That vat is made of quartz. That vat is made of quartz that comes from one place in the world. So this vat is called a crucible. It's like a bowl. It's a giant bowl.
It's
Like
called
the
a
size of
it's a
a crucible.
crucible?
The vat is called a crucible. It's just a bowl the size of a small room.
Okay.
And you dip it, maybe it's a little bit smaller than that. And you dip the substrate and you let it acclimate, and the atoms of the silicone grow and grow and grow and grow. Quartz is 99.9999% pure. And there's only one place in the world you can get this quartz. And if you can't get this quartz, you cannot make Apple. You can't make iPhones. You cannot make M chips. You cannot make NVIDIA GPUs. And it comes from the United States. And it's called Spruce Pine quartz. And it's somewhere in the South. I think it might be in North Carolina or something like that. I should have looked that up. So
Like they're mining
if
for it?
they mine the quartz, yes.
And that's the only place that this quartz exists?
Yeah, it's Spruce Pine is a small town in North Carolina, and it's the purest natural quartz on Earth. And there's no other way of making these chips without this quartz. So the United States actually has as much power as China does in terms of stopping the world, and also the Dutch apparently have as much power. So
Wow.
there's all these dependencies. They matter, but when you talk about all these political ramifications and these strategies, these worldwide political strategies, unless you know about the quartz, unless you know about ASML in the Netherlands, like you don't know the whole story.
Mm-hmm.
So I guess my point is, one, this is really interesting to me that I feel better now that the United States has the only material that you can make this stuff with. They may find another deposit, but as far as right now, and I'm sure people have been looking. I guarantee people have been looking, but they haven't found it yet.
I was going to say, who owns that land that has this quartz on it?
2 companies, and that's it. I didn't get the name of the companies, but two companies. It also made me think of a quote by a gentleman named Mike Rowe. Do you know who he is?
No.
You remember ever see the show, reality show Dirty Jobs?
No, it sounds familiar, but I never oh, okay, yeah, no, I remember
Yeah,
that show, but I didn't watch it, but I remember it.
yeah, I think it's a 20-year-old show now where this guy named Mike Rowe, he'll go to this place that they're doing jobs that either filthy or, disgusting or smelly, but are
Yeah.
really important to the industry, to our economy. Mining is one of those kind of dirty jobs, right? But it reminded me of a quote that Mike Rowe might have stolen from someone else, but I attribute it to Mike Rowe. He says, in all of the world and all of our economic ventures, there's only two major industries, only two that matter: agriculture and mining. And
Mm.
everything is derivative of those two. If you think about it, he's right. The entire
Food
AI
and
stack, food and rocks from the earth, the entire AI industry is dependent upon mining the silicon, mining the quartz, mining the rare earth materials. And then everything else is based upon labor, which is based upon food, agriculture. So
Mhm.
I always thought it was labor was really the base of the economy. But I like his framing that, yeah, you can have labor, but you got to feed them. And then you have to make stuff that people can trade. But that stuff comes from mining, you know,
Makes
and
sense.
agriculture. Yeah, it makes sense, cotton, for our clothes or what have you. Anyway, I thought this is something that like I've never heard anyone put all those three together in a podcast. So I thought it'd be cool if we could do that and people could learn about something. Maybe win a bar bet.
I win a bar bet.
Yeah. But did you know about any of those three?
No, I had no idea, and I think this
Yeah.
quartz thing is so interesting.
I know.
So
I want
that's
to get some. Can I get a piece of spruce pine quartz? I would love to have a piece of
right?
that.
What does it look
Yeah.
like? Is it pink like quartz usually is, or
I'm sure it's pink or white. Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah.
I wanna see what it looks like.
But it's funny because you and I can walk to the beach and pick up some sand, and that's mostly quartz, but it's not pure by any means, right? But yeah, quartz is so important. It's really incredible.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
It's fascinating how we find all these things in nature and find, like, uses for them like this, and that's the only thing that can be used.
The
That's
only thing. Exactly.
Mhm.
We turned sand into intelligence.
Yeah.
WTF? How do we do that? Makes no sense. It's crazy. So speaking of intelligence, I want to talk about Anthropic, which I think even when we started this podcast, I think we were both talking like OpenAI had kind of already won the race, that they were really far ahead. And you were an OpenAI user, right? At the start of our podcast.
Mhm.
And they seemed to be dominating the market. They had 800 million users worldwide. They had all the money, and Anthropic was second, and Google was second. I think I even rated in that way at some point. But in the last couple of months, it's completely turned around because now Anthropic is making twice as much as money as OpenAI because Anthropic last year made the decision to focus on enterprise, focus on the private sector, but focus on large businesses, whereas OpenAI focused on the consumers, people like you and me. Well, that got to kind of a saturation point where most everyone that was sort of interested was already paying the $20 a month, right? But Anthropic kept on going up, up, and up, and up because enterprise, even tech businesses were like, oh, we can use you instead of programmers, or we can make our programmers, our developers 10 times more effective by buying tokens. So from last year to this year, it looks like Anthropic is going to grow by about 10 times. Last year, they had a $10 billion revenue, I believe. They closed the year out with $10 billion revenue. Right now, as far as this point in May, they're at a $40 billion run rate, which means that they stayed at this part where they're at. So if they stayed at the growth level they're at, they'll make 40 billion by the end of the year, right? But they're growing because last month it was a $30 billion run rate. June could be a $50 billion run rate, which means that at that growth level, they could reach $100 billion revenue by December, end of this year, which would be 10 times growth from last year. They are projected to grow again by 10 more times in 2027, which means they could reach $1 trillion of revenue, which
Wha
has never even been, no one's even come close to that.
Should we be buying stock?
Well, it's not
Anthropic
public yet.
stock? Oh, it's not public. Okay.
You have to be a private investor. You can find a private equity group and give them $1 million and they'll give you some stock. But people
Or
like, or
get a job with Anthropic, right?
exactly, get a job with Anthropic, and my God, yeah. So when they go public, well, I mean, because so okay, see, I got a job with them this week, and they'll give me what's it called? Basically, options to buy stock.
Yeah, they do.
And so you don't have to buy them right away, right? So like, let's say you can buy 10,000 shares, which would be like so many dollars. But what you can do when you have those options, you can sell the options and you can watch the stock go up, and then I should buy those now, and you get to buy them at the price they were when you got the options. So you could literally see a stock go 10 times up and then buy it
Yeah.
at 1/10 the price, which is going to happen with Anthropic, right? It's going to go public and or probably do that kind of growth curve, right?
Mhm.
But you can get those shares now as a private or as an employee. But yeah, I thought I should bring this up because Anthropic is number one right now in terms of the business. In terms of the technology, I think I mentioned this last week. I think OpenAI caught up. I think what is it, 5.5? ChatGPT is 5.5. This changes like every day, so I'm always
I think
slow.
so. Yeah, I think it's
Yeah.
5.5.
So 5.5 Pro is as good as, if not better than Opus 4.7 Anthropic.
Mm,
So the technology has caught up, and they'll be leapfrogging each other for the rest of time.
yeah.
And there's probably plenty of business for them to both coexist, but I'm not sure there's enough business for Google and OpenAI and Anthropic and Grok to coexist. So we'll see. But I thought that was crazy news. That the idea that a company can make $1 trillion of revenue by 2027 just blows my mind. That's inconceivable. Because right now their estimated valuation is like $1.2 trillion on a revenue of $40 billion. So you can see the
Wow.
disparity between 40 billion and 1.2 trillion, right? If their revenue was $1 trillion, their value would be like $30 trillion at least. $30 trillion. That's the whole GDP of this country.
Jeez. And it's Darius. Darius
It's
Amadeus?
Dario Amade, yes, is the CEO.
Amadeus.
Amade.
Jeez. Is he married? Asking for a friend.
I
I'm
do
just kidding.
asking for a friend. I
I'm
don't
just
know.
so
I know
kidding.
Sam Altman is partnered and has I think a child through I think a surrogate. I don't know about Dario. I know his sister works in Anthropic, and she's at a very high level. Elon's not married. Trying to go through all the founders here. Well, a lot of them are not, because can you imagine being married to Elon? I mean, often would you see him? A couple times a year?
Yeah, I
He
don't
sl-
know. I know
he
Grimes.
sleeps. Yeah, Grimes. Well, I don't know if they talk anymore.
He sleeps
Yeah,
what?
he sleeps in the factory sometimes.
Yeah, he
He'll sleep.
seems like a workaholic.
Right. So you're not going to see him. He'd be a terrible husband. Just be around to pick up the kids, or he'll send someone to go pick up the kids and have them flown over to where he's at.
Although he just that's what I read about him. He take his son to China, and people were all up in arms about it because they were like, this is one, it's not appropriate. Two, it's taxpayer money that he's using to fly his son to China. He took him with
Oh, I
Trump.
don't know. I'll have
Yeah,
to, yeah.
yeah.
Elon was on Air Force One, right?
Mhm. Yeah, he took his son with him.
I don't, maybe it's not appropriate, but I don't think it's breaking the bank to take a kid to China. I'd be more concerned about Elon. Well, I'll actually no. You know what? If I think it's smart, actually, security wise, to have presidential level security as the CEO of a massive company going to China. I think that makes sense. You don't want something bad to happen. Although I put like half of them on Air Force One and half of them on Air Force Two. Like I'm not trying to put them all on the same plane.
Yeah, that's
But
probably actually a really good idea
yeah,
with all the weird stuff going on.
right. Because I mean, this is an aside. Elon is so critical to SpaceX and XAI and Tesla. I'm sure the value of those companies would go down if he died. But I'm also pretty sure they would not be as significant in the future without Elon.
Mhm.
Like him or hate him, he is doing something. Um, those companies run because of him, and hopefully he's thought about um, a plan for the company to continue without him. There's a term for that. Anyway,
I don't know.
you said you want to talk about agents, so I have agent news. Is there anything
Yes.
specific you wanted to talk about?
Well, I was reading that article you sent me about this new agent called, it starts with a G. What is it? How do you pronounce it?
No, Hermes.
Oh, Hermes H.
Hermes.
Okay,
Yeah.
Hermes.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Hermes. Yeah.
Hermes. Okay. Yeah, that it's better than OpenClaw because it's got way better memory and it keeps learning. So, first of all, okay, so I guess I didn't realize that there were other. I'm so like illiterate when it comes to this sort of stuff. So I know OpenClaw is an AI agent, right? Now we have this new one, Hermes, but there's a lot other agents out there.
Yeah.
Are there like a gazillion?
I think it's called, I think the product's called Hermes Agent. It's by a company called Noose,
Mhm.
Nous, Noose Research. But to call it an agent is sort of a misnomer. What it really is a scaffolding that you can use artificial intelligence tokens to power the scaffold and just do something very specific, right? So Hermes is just like OpenClaw in that sense, that it will utilize frontier lab tokens from big companies that you pay for to do things in a specific way that you can't do as well using Claude or ChatGPT. At least that's the claim. And OpenClaw was successful because it was really suitable for technical people or programmers to use to help them write code, to help them automate things. And then it got even more popular when people that were sort of technical saw things that you could do to automate their business, automate their job. But it really depended on that technical know-how. And also it was really like not locked down in any way. It could do anything, right? And so it could do anything a Linux operating system can do, which made it dangerous, but also really effective and really flexible. I actually installed Hermes Agent a couple of weeks ago before it got popular, but I haven't used it yet.
Hmm.
My take on it, not using it, is that it's just more focused than OpenClaw and that it really it's focused on learning and it's focused on memory, like you said. And it's focused on you give it a goal, and by design, it will iterate and learn upon its iteration to achieve that goal. So whereas I mean, you've seen this before working with OpenClaw, you tell it to do something, it'll do it and it stops. Even if you tell OpenClaw, no, don't stop, keep on working, it'll still stop, right? But I will like, hey, why did you stop? Well, that's right. Sorry about that. And then it continues again. You kind of have to babysit it. It seems like Hermes Agent doesn't do that, but it's more aggressive and then it'll learn from its own mistakes and then get back to you. Sounds great. I think clearly it's going to use more tokens in OpenCloud to do that. So there's that downside of it. One thing I found out about Hermes Agent that I like a lot is that unlike OpenClaw, it's not really officially supported by OpenAI. It's just OpenAI bought OpenClaw. Right now, Grok officially supports Hermes Agent. So XAI, Elon Musk and Grok support Hermes Agent and we'll let you tie right into it. In fact, it's built into Hermes Agent at this point. So you install Hermes Agent and you say, I got a Grok account and let me log in, and then boom, you're done. So it's super easy to set up if you use Grok. So when I read that, I'm thinking, well, I'm going to react. Because I turned off my Grok account. Did I mention that?
No.
Yeah, I got too many. I got, like you said, Midjourney, Suno. I mean, I just got it's probably 10 things, and I only use like 3 or 4 of them. So I've been carving them out. Like I discontinued my 11 labs because HeyGen can do voice just as well now. I
Mhm.
turned off my Grok because I only really used it to do images.
What were you doing the Midjourney for? I know it's an image creator, but what were you using it for?
I was using it as sort of a benchmark to see how good the rest of them are, like Nano
Okay, so you're
Banana.
just playing around with them and testing them out.
Just playing around, yeah.
Okay.
Because they've always been the best.
Yeah.
But like you said, not cheap though.
Yeah.
And then doing the video is even. You said which one were you using for video?
Cling.
Cling, yeah, yeah. Another one, not cheap. What do you
Mhm.
think? What do you think it costs per video for you? Like a couple of bucks?
Well, it's 120 tokens to make a 10-second video.
Okay.
And I had to upgrade. I started off with, God, I don't even know what I'm paying, but I had to upgrade. I think I think I had to upgrade to the $100 a month one because within a couple days I used up all my tokens and the only option was to upgrade. And I was
Hmm.
just having so much fun doing it that I was like, I'm just going to do it for this month, but I'll probably continue to do it. But
Right.
yeah, I have the $100 a month option, and It gives me, I want to say, I don't know, I want to say it's like 3,000 tokens a month. And each
Okay.
video, for a 10-second video, it's 120
120. So it goes
tokens.
fast. Yeah.
It goes so fast. Yeah. And for a 5-second video, it's like half that, 60 tokens. And then you can go up. I don't know. I think it's 30 seconds is the longest you can make. And of course, the tokens increase with that too. But I'm always using 15 or less seconds because I heard the longer than 15 seconds, it starts to get confused and it does weird things with the video. So usually my videos are about 10 seconds.
I believe that's true. Watching, like, because people have strung together these things and made like little
Yeah.
short movies, like 3-minute movies. But you can tell about every 10 seconds or so, something changes. Because I think what you have to do is you have to make your video, then take like a picture of that last frame, and then feed that back into video gen, and then continue from that. Because you're right, it gets kind of weird and
Starts making, it just starts making weird stuff up.
invents things. Yeah, invents things. Like it's not the 6-finger problem. It's just like it just goes in this weird direction.
Yeah.
Elon said that, and I don't know when this is going to happen, but he's trying to get 30-second videos out from Grok, and that's on the $20 a month plan. So he has doubled down on his video platform, whereas OpenAI, Sora's dead, right?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah. Sora's dead.
they just dropped it, and Anthropic does not have a video model.
Yeah, or image generator. It has a really good document generator, although I think they will have an image generator soon because it's kind of laid out already to be ready for that. Because a couple times I've asked it to create a image prompt for ChatGPT, and it'll say, "Oh, I can do that," and it'll create like this interesting document, or I don't know what it is. I think it's a document, yeah. And I'll be like, it'll be something really basic, and I'll be like, "Wait, so you can create images?" And they'll be like, "Oh no, sorry, I can't." But it thinks it can initially. So
Yeah.
I think they're getting ready for that. Like the groundwork is laid out.
I'm sure. I think they're trying to find the best image generation for businesses. Like someone was talking about how they're doing some sort of business proposal, but it needed to have diagrams to support it, right? And they said they just could not get Claude to do any decent diagram. It's just impossible. So then it ended up like, make a prompt so I can go to OpenAI to produce a diagram over there, because they just gave up. But there's a lot of business use cases for this, not the least of which is image recognition and production, like, taking PDFs and extracting the text, but then also extracting the images and then regenerating the images in a new document. So there's all kinds of business use cases for it. But yeah, I'm sure they're working on it. It's just they're so focused. Anthropic is a really focused company. They don't, and it's worked out for them. It's hard to debate. I also think they don't do image generation, or they haven't released it yet, because of all the labs out there, they're the most constrained on compute. Google has its own data centers.
Wait, they're the most what?
Strained on compute, on data center
What is-
availability.
Oh, that's right. Okay, because you were
Yeah.
telling me that they're teaming up with Elon, right?
Right. Elon
They're-
has Colossus 1 and Colossus 2, two massive data centers.
And it's going to let them use one.
Right. And so I think they didn't have enough. They didn't have the capability. They do not have the capability to serve off an image model, because it would just eat up too much GPU. So I think that's the other part of it. So probably maybe with this deal with Elon, but I think you're right. By the end of the year, you'll see image generation on Claude, I think, pretty easily. So speaking of Elon, have you heard of the Terafab?
No.
So he has a gigafactory, I think it's in Texas, where he's making, what does he make there? Does he make the cyber taxi? I think he makes a cyber taxi there. But now he wants to build a terafab. So like gigabyte, terabyte. And also in Texas, I think. He wants this terafab on its own to not only be a chip fabrication plant, but to replace ASML, remember the what I mentioned before, not rely upon the Dutch, and build his own factory that, when it's running, will in a year produce 50 times what the entire world produces in that one factory.
Jeez.
Yeah, jeez.
He wants to rule the world.
50 times, which sounds like a lot, right? It sounds like that's like, is that even, what would you even do with that? Like if I just gave a company 50 times the chips that they had, like Apple couldn't sell 50 times the iPhones, right? So what would you do with it? And the answer doesn't seem obvious at first, but once I tell you, you're going to go, oh yeah, satellite data centers. You can send up an infinite amount of satellites. And once they get up there, they have energy from the sun and they have cooling from space. So as many as you can build, you can send them up. So that's why.
Yeah,
That's why
he's very strategic.
he is at least 2 steps ahead of everyone else. And this Terafab, I don't think it's going to get off the ground next year, even the year after that. But that's not the point. The point is when he needs it, it's going to be there, and he won't have to rely upon Taiwan. He won't have to rely upon the Dutch. And, Texas is not that far away from North Carolina to get the quartz. So he's set. Even the rare earth materials, people forget that at one point in time, the United States was a leader in rare earth mining. So we just stopped because it's like we don't want to ruin the environment, and maybe it was cost prohibitive, but we got all the rare earths we need here. We got all the lithium. I forgot the other 3 important ones, but these rare elements that are in circuitry.
Mhm.
I think palladium is another one. Maybe silver, not titanium. Anyway, but we have all that's here, so we're fine. But it's gonna take a few years to ramp up. But I thought another like exponential number, like 50 times the amount of world chips. What would you even do with it? It's you know, how many robots are gonna be in your house in 10 years? If you have 0, I'm gonna guess you will have not like walking robots, because you already have robots in your house, I bet. Do you have a Nest, AC Nest control?
Are you talking to me?
Yeah. Do you have a device that controls your AC and your heater?
I don't have AC, but did you just say I already have robots in my house?
Yeah, I bet you have robots in your house. Let's find it. Let's find them. See,
What?
do you have a vacuum? You have a robot vacuum?
No, I don't have a robot. I want one, but I don't have one.
So, okay, you don't have a robot controlling your heating. You don't have a robot vacuum.
I don't think I have any robots in my place.
You sure?
I'm pretty sure, unless there's one that I'm not aware of that you can tell me
Okay,
that is a robot.
Alexa's a bit of a robot. Do you have Alexa?
I do not have Alexa. I don't want a robot to talk to at this moment. I don't
Oh,
have
maybe
Alexa,
okay.
no.
Okay,
So no,
maybe
I
you
don't
don't
have
have
Alexa.
robots. But that by choice, you don't have robots then. Yeah.
Well, I didn't realize Alexa was a robot, but I don't have Alexa just because it's Amazon and I don't trust Jeff Bezos. And, there was all those stories about Alexa listening when she wasn't supposed to and responding when they thought she was off and
She's
she was
absolutely
actually
listening.
listening.
Yeah.
Yeah, and so I think that's creepy. So no, I don't have Alexa for that reason. But I wouldn't. I buy a robot, the vacuum cleaner robot.
Yeah. Anyway, so if you have 0 robots now in your house, I'm gonna guess in 10 years you're gonna have 20 robots in your house.
Hopefully in like 2 years, 3 years. I'm not opposed to certain robots.
Yeah. Well, it's like 10 years ago, well, I'm an outlier, but like 10 years ago, most people didn't have internet devices in their house, right? Maybe 15 years ago, most people did not. And then every TV was online. Okay, so my TV is on the internet. And then now your refrigerator's online and your speakers are online. And what else? Well, your Wi Fi device is obviously online. But the other day I was counting and there's like 50 things with internet access in my house.
Wow. Well, so what robots do you have?
Well, had a robot vacuum, it died. And I just didn't want to. I don't know if you've shopped robot vacuums, but they're pretty expensive now.
Yeah, they are expensive.
It's kind of weird. I thought usually like tech, it goes down, but I don't think they're terribly popular because if they sold a lot, the price should go down on these things. Um, but I don't know. I don't know what the market is for robot vacuums.
You don't think they're more expensive because they're popular? And so they're like, we're going to keep the
Well,
price up. Everyone's buying them anyway.
it's the same reason you can buy a $300 60-inch TV. That exact technology was $3,000 10 years ago. The robot vacuums have been around for just as long as that TV has. There were robot vacuums 10 years ago. I had one.
Yeah, but a
it's-
robot vacuum like saves us time. A TV like takes up time. I feel like there's an agenda there. Let's give them the TVs for super cheap. Let's give them anything that saves them time. It's going to be more expensive.
And collects data on them.
It maps out the.
Well, it knows what you watch, right?
Oh, you mean the TV?
Yeah, the TV. Oh, yeah. Well, the robot vacuum too. So the other day, someone accidentally hacked. Is it Roomba? I think they hacked Roomba,
Yeah.
and they found out that with one command, they could control every Roomba on the planet.
What?
And yes, and luckily, this guy is like, oh, that would really suck if that got out, and right away sent Roomba this bug, and they fixed it.
Wow. That's how
Yeah.
easy it is to take over something like that. Every Roomba in the world.
In the world.
And that's just a little vacuum robot. Can you imagine something more important, more dangerous?
Well, right, but I think it goes to show that They just didn't care about security. It was never a thought, So basically, that's the lesson. Even if you think your device is totally like benign, you should probably think about security just a little bit. If not for your customer base and the continuation of your company, because if that had happened, I mean, that would be the end of the company. We would never buy another Roomba. Even now, that made me pause. Another reason that made me pause. It's like, I don't know if I want to get another robot vacuum. It's not a good idea. But yeah, but clearly I'm going to have I'm going to have walking robots and rolling robots. Amazon almost put out, oh, I almost bought the robot Amazon put out, but they never released it. So I've been on the list to get beta products from Amazon forever. I was one of the first people to get the Alexa Echo.
Mm.
And so a couple of years ago, I got an email saying, "You want to buy a robot?" And
Wait, a robot, like an actual
it was a
robot?
rolling robot.
What's a rolling robot? Oh, like a little
It had
from.
wheels, yeah, yeah.
Oh, how
And
cute! I didn't know
yeah,
that Amazon's
and
selling those.
I don't think it ever went to market. I think they decided it wasn't going to sell, or there wasn't enough interest in it. But its purpose was to be like a watchdog. So it just go
Mhm.
around, look out for leaks, look out for fires, look out for intruders, make sure your pet hasn't gotten into something, and it would just roam around. And some other company made a drone that did the same thing. But
How cool. I went to a convention. This was, I don't know, maybe a year and a half ago, an AI convention, and they were doing a raffle to win one of those robots. I mean, the dog robots.
yeah, Boston Dynamics robots. Yeah.
Yeah, I signed up. I was like, I want to win it, but I didn't win it. Can you imagine having one of those?
What would you do with it other than have it patrol your yard? I mean,
I don't know. I don't know what they do. What do they do? I know the military's using them for nefarious reasons, but what would a normal person, average person like you and me do with it? I guess it could bring you your beer. It could, I don't know. I don't know what
I
it
think
does.
it would just be security. I'd be like, all right, go into the store, watch the house, and it would watch the
Okay.
house.
So
Yeah,
that's why it's shaped like a dog. It's a robot dog.
yeah, yeah. I really can't think of a good use for it because
But it
it doesn't
can't.
have useful arms. It can't really do much.
Yeah, it can't stand, right? It's always on its four legs. It doesn't like stand.
I don't think so.
Yeah, I
Yeah, I
don't
don't
think
think
so
so.
either. I haven't seen it doing that.
Yeah.
Mhm.
The last thing I had was the OpenAI Elon trial. Have you heard about this one?
The AI Elon trial? No.
Yeah. Okay. So I went to trial a couple weeks ago. Monday, it goes to the jury. So basically, the premise is that when OpenAI was started because people were concerned about the direction of AI and wanted to make a company that was focused on safety and consolidating best practices for AI and share that with the world. So it was a nonprofit. So Elon was there day one. Peter Thiel was there day one. Sam Altman was there. Another guy named Brockman was there. There's like a dozen people. I think Dario might have been there too, but maybe not. But but Dario was attracted because it was a nonprofit. Uh, a lot of people donated to the nonprofit because they wanted to pay these researchers and like I said, just do AI the right way. And for people like Dario or Elon, it was like safety, alignment, meaning that AI is not going to do what is against our best interests. And they were thinking about this in 2015. Well, flash forward a couple years, and Elon has left after giving them $40 million of his own money because they opened another subsidiary of OpenAI that was a for profit segment of it. And they started funneling money into the for profit and started getting customers. And Elon's like, this is not what we wanted to do, and left. And then a couple years later, Dario left. And then the nonprofit entity still exists, I think, but doesn't do much because then they turned it into a for-profit venture. That's You and I have always known OpenAI as a for-profit uh, company. Well, Elon is saying it was uh, illegal and inappropriate for that nonprofit to get investor money because when you give a nonprofit money, funnels differently than a profit, right? There's different mechanisms and different ways, and it's you're not doing it to get a return. But he's saying that they took his money and lots of people's money and funneled that into the profit agency, and there should have been a return. People that funded that. That was an inappropriate use of a nonprofit organization, and so he's suing them. He wants the damages to be, I looked this up, I want to get this right, a lot. $34 billion. He wants the damages to be
My God.
$134 billion. And he wants to basically undo OpenAI and turn it back into a nonprofit.
Jeez.
Yeah. Now he did say that he would not take the 134 billion, that he would give it away or give it back to the nonprofit. But I don't know how far this is going to get. It's not clear Elon's chances here, but it's been very, very grimy and a lot of bad emotions and bad attentions and a lot of leaked emails that came out that just paint Elon and Sam and Brockman in a very negative light. It would have been better had this not all gone to trial. But it's interesting that you haven't heard of it because that tells me that maybe it's not getting as much bad press as I thought.
I've also haven't been paying attention to the news and stuff like that for the last, I want to say the last 5 days, 7 days, the last week. I've been busy doing my thing, but yeah, I haven't been usually I'm up to date on all this stuff. It's probably, it might be out there. I just wasn't paying attention.
Yeah, but it's been going on for a few weeks, and it was even in the
Oh,
news
okay.
before the trial started when they were doing jury selection. So the fact that it hasn't hit your
My
social media
radar.
your algorithms, right? It's like social media doesn't think you should know it, so that's interesting. Or mine, my ex feed was all about this trial.
Wait, and did you say you were on the jury? You were.
No, it goes to jury. It goes to the jury on Monday. Yeah, I
Oh,
was on the
okay.
jury. Yeah,
I was like,
be,
I thought that's what you said in the very beginning.
that'd be awesome. I
Wouldn't that be
love that.
awesome? I know. That'd be so
Yeah.
exciting.
Oh, you had to get the well, because I think this story is gonna turn into a movie for sure. And that's not even my sentiment. Other people said that because this whole idea because what happens here, like if OpenAI gets crushed because of this, that's gonna change the future completely. That will give the automatic win to Anthropic. That'll put Google in a deep hole, and that'll make Grok a competitor again, I think. Elon just has no love for Sam. I mean, that much is clear.
They had a falling out, right? They started
Well, Sam has had a
open
lot of
source
falling
together.
outs. Yeah, that's among many falling outs. But also Elon was not terribly complimentary of Dario either, and he swallowed that and said, "Let's partner up." Probably because he knew
Hmm.
that would be bad for Sam. The enemy of my enemy is my friend. So it's very Machiavellian. Yeah,
I
this is
like
all
that.
this is all kind of high school stuff. They're just mad at each other, but it's $134 billion. It's not an inconsequential amount of money.
My God, can you imagine? That's a lot.
My guess is he's not going to win, but there may be something. There may be some settlement that the judge decides that's not great for OpenAI.
Mm.
We'll see. Yeah, we'll see.
They'll probably just pay the judge off. They'll probably just, don't you think? Like
Well,
there's,
maybe because this is interesting, and I didn't know you could do this in California because I think it's in Oakland, in the Oakland federal court. Yeah, this jury is an advisory jury. In other words, they don't put out a verdict. They say, "Dear judge, these are our thoughts." This sole judge, Yvonne Gonzalez Rogers, will sit back and make the decision on her own.
wow,
So
it's a lady doing this?
yeah,
That's
and
so crazy.
I found that interesting because you're right. We're talking so much money. Why would you not think about bribing them? I would. Who
Of
wouldn't?
course,
I
right?
mean, there have been stories that people have been killed already for this. There's a story about OpenAI and a guy dying to keep some things quiet. I don't know if it's true, but we're at the level of this money. Murder and bribery has to enter someone's mind. So this is probably part of the process. I'm sure this is not unusual, but the idea that it goes to one person, not a jury, just is kind of like, oh, I worry about that.
Why is that? I thought that there always had to be a jury, so that is not the case.
Well, no, there doesn't always have to be a jury. There has to be a jury of your peers for a crime that you commit, not a civil action. This is a civil action, and this is a corporate
Mm.
action. This is against a corporation, not an individual. So um, there doesn't have to be. Could there be? I don't know. Maybe there could have been. If there
Mm-mm.
could have been, I would think it would be a much better look. It also could be that in this particular case, okay, if you and I got put on the jury, let's say we don't know each other, but if you and I got put in the jury, I would have a very different impression than you would have. What if Grandma got put on the jury? Is Grandma going to be able to figure this out? This is a very complex case. Do you want the
Poor
jury to
grandma.
decide? I know, poor Grandma. She means well. She wants to do her good for her community.
Her duty. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, do her duty, do her civil service. I shouldn't joke. One day we'll be grandma and grandpa, and people feel sorry for us that we're so out of it. But no, as just the average person, I can't see how you would get the right kind of jury in this case as well. So it's also a consideration.
That's true.
Yeah, but yeah, it's interesting. You haven't heard of it. Oh,
If
my
I
thought was like, what? Because some of these emails that came out, just like they don't look good. They don't make these people look better. Which another again goes back to the marketing. These are not the spokespeople we need, and this is not the information that needs to come out.
Well, I'll let you know if I see anything, but now that my phone has heard us talking about it, I'll probably start seeing a bunch of stuff on it.
Yeah,
I'll let you
definitely.
know.
Yeah, mine too.
I'll be on
Um,
the lookout for it.
Well, cool. That's all I had for today. Bunch of news items.
All right. Good episode.
Yeah, for sure. We should
So
probably
we're
try to
behind.
sneak behind a little bit. So we should try to sneak one in
Yeah.
this week. Yeah.
Yeah. Let's try it. Yeah. Sometime maybe later this week, after
Oh,
maybe like Wednesday or later.
Wednesday later. Sounds good. And I'm going to try to, I don't know about this episode, but the next one, I have a complaint from a listener who says
Mm,
that maybe you should try some different music and some different visuals for the lead-in. You know, after
okay.
we have the cold open, then we have the theme song, and we have the kind of really generic. I know what they're saying, really generic, like obviously AI made visuals behind it. They're like,
Hmm.
they said, do better. I'm like, okay, we'll do
Well,
better.
well, now that I'm all, a professional experience, not professional experience with Kling and all those, or not Kling. Well, I guess it's Dolly, and I'm gonna become experienced with Midjourney. I can start making our visuals for us.
Yeah, that'd be great. Yeah, we could share that. We could tag team that. But I thought that was
S-
yeah, sure. Why not? Why not? Why? I mean, I was sort of resting on my laurels and like because it took some time to do that, you know. But it's like
Resting on your laurels.
yeah, I was like, it's like
Who
this
says
is. I
that?
mean, the song is fine. The song is good, right? I don't like, but we have feedback, so we got to listen to the listeners.
All right. Yeah, I think we've got to have better, what's the thumbnail, right? Better thumbnails.
Better thumbnails.
I think
Well, they're also like, hey, your listenership's not going up. I'm like, I know, we're not really advertising, we're not doing the shorts, the things we need to do. And he's like, you should. Like, okay. I think we're at the point now
it's
too, though. After 15 episodes, I think we're at the point where I'm not like totally embarrassed of our podcast. Like, I'm making less mistakes. I think you're doing great. I think we've gotten from being like a really novice to like a beginner now. We're at the beginner stage, right? I think we've gotten past some of
yeah,
the yeah.
we're
So,
beginner. Yeah.
yeah,
I think we're doing
I'm not
great.
I think we're doing great. I'm not actually embarrassed. I'm just like there's certain things I wish I had done differently, right? Obviously. But now I feel like, yeah, we could do a little advertising. Why not? Because I think
Yeah.
with minimal effort, we can go from our like 50 views episode to like 500. I think with very, very minimal effort. So might as
Really?
well.
Oh my
Yes.
gosh, that sounds kind of scary to me. But yeah, let's do it.
Okay. Let's do it.
500 people listening to us?
Yeah.
But it's
Yeah.
so easy when you're in your own living room and, no one else is here, and it's different than, speaking in front of 500 people in a on a stage. So, we can do it.
Oh no, completely. I mean, I still think when it comes to 500 people, God, I could do 30, 40, 50, 100. I get a little bit nervous. 500, yeah, I'd be nervous for sure.
So it's the number of
Um,
people. It's not even the fact that you just have to get up in front of people. For you, it's the number of people. The more nervous you are.
yeah, because it seems like it then becomes like all public speaking is performative, right?
Yeah.
That's what they teach you basically. That's why you're don't say stand straight, eye contact, smile, speak slowly. It's all performative. But you don't really think about it when you're talking to like your department or even a larger like business meeting because you're focused on the business, right? But when you get in front of like, in my case, the entire organization is like 500 people, and I've done this a few times. Yeah, it's like, oh my God, this is a performance. Oh my God, that like this, the bar goes up, and it shouldn't. There's no reason it should. But for me, the bar goes up and I get nervous.
Mm,
Now, when I did that on Zoom quite a bit. There was 500,000 people. Not nervous at all. So I don't know
because it was
why.
on Zoom.
Because it was on Zoom.
Yeah, I've done some little presentations on Zoom, and it was a lot easier than it would have been in person. So yeah, I think it's definitely a lot easier. But I don't know about the number. I think for me, I would get just as nervous whether it's 50 people versus 500 people. But as long as I have like like a script in front of me, I think I'm okay. I get nervous, but I'm like, I can do it because I have my little thing in front of me that I'll use to read. But
Yeah.
that's different than giving, yes, like I don't know. I would love to not have to read, but
Yeah.
although I can't, my mind goes blank.
I could definitely still benefit from a Dale Carnegie course. I think there's a lot to well, because they practice in front of peers. Like you're there practicing in front of people. And it's also different, I think, with strangers and with people that you work with. That's also a different dynamic. So like I'm pretty comfortable talking with people I know for some reason. Whereas if I give a presentation in front of a group of people, complete strangers, I'm like, oh my God, what are they gonna
Really?
think of
Because
me?
I think I'm
Yeah,
I'm the opposite. I feel more
really.
comfortable in front of people that I don't know versus people that I do know that are gonna be like, "Oh, she's nervous," or, we know I don't know, like, I just for some reason, I feel like they're more judgmental of me, the people that I know. Not that they are, but in my mind they are, versus a bunch of strangers who have no idea who I am.
Right. When
So,
in reality, the only one that's really judgmental is
I
you.
know. Yeah, exactly.
Everyone else doesn't really care.
Exactly.
No one else cares. If anything, the only judgment they have is I wish that person would stop talking and move on to the next one.
Right. We wanna
That's
go
the only
home. I'm
yeah.
hungry. I have to
I'm
use the
hungry.
bathroom.
Yeah.
I gotta go pick up my kid.
Right. But cool. All right.
All right.
Um,
Well, thank you.
with that, thank you so much. We'll see you guys next
Until
week.
next time.
Okay.
Through the curtains open, let the morning flood the room. Something in the air today, it isn't over, it's in bloom. Felt it in my chest like the first note of a song. Been warming up my whole life just to sing along. Golden age, baby, we were made for this moment and the stage. Door wide open, light is pouring in. Don't have to wait no more. This is where we begin. Hey, yeah. She quit asking for a seat at somebody else's table. Built her own, now look at her, unstoppable and able. He took everything he loved and finally called it work. Every quiet year of wondering, nothing went to waste, nothing hurt. Golden age, baby, we were made for this moment and the stage. Door wide open, light is pouring in. Don't have to wait no more. This is where we begin. Hey! Didn't need a map, just needed to believe the road was real. Took the thing they said was crazy, made it something you could feel. Every late night, every maybe, every not yet, not quite there. Look around now, the view from here was worth it, I swear. This is the day we talked about. Oh, this is the road we dreamed about. The tools are ready, the people are ready, darling. So are you. Golden age, oh, baby, we were made for this moment and the stage. Door wide open, light is pouring in. Don't have to wait no more. This is where we begin.